Hello, everyone. Welcome back once again. Boy, do we have a significant weather event going on now. Let me check and see if everything's rolling here before we get started. Yeah, that looks good. Facebook is rolling. YouTube is rolling. We're looking good. Hello. Welcome back to another episode of Golf Cart Garage. We're going to talk about some golf carts today like we do every Tuesday. Every Tuesday at 12 noon Central Time, we come here and a bunch of golf cart people get together and we discuss some questions and try to help people out, maybe save them some money. Right now, we got all kinds of stuff going on in the world or in the United States as far as weather goes. YouTube. Oh, it's by the way, this is Tuesday, January 21st. If you're watching us at 12 noon Central Time on January the 21st, you're watching us live. We're live on YouTube and Facebook right now. Let's see. David Irwin, hello from Chile, Florida. I just saw it's snowing in Pensacola. Now that's how crazy things are. It's snowing in Pensacola. Help Us Garage. What's going on? What's going on, Zeke? Hello from Cabot, 25 degrees. Yep, it's cold in Arkansas, but I see some of you got us beat bad, so I'm not even going to talk about how cold it is in Arkansas right now. We just had a bunch of snow a week ago, and now it's snowing heavily in South Louisiana. I mean, I'm from North Louisiana. I probably grew up and saw maybe 5 snow days throughout my whole childhood growing up in North Louisiana. But right now in South Louisiana, like Baton Rouge, it's completely covered. They got 7 to 8 inches of snow there. I've been watching a live video feed of storm chasers. That is crazy. It's snowing in New Orleans right now. Joe Foster, 32 in Chile and Kings Mountain, North Carolina. Mike Irvin from southwestern Indiana, 10 degrees in Indiana. 24 degrees in Machapongo, Virginia, Rich East Main. Mason, it is warmed up to -5. All right, Mason, you win the prize. Kevin Salyer, you're second place, -3 in Northwest Indiana. Greg Elliott, let's go. Still cold in Bristol, Virginia. Looking forward to spring. 30 degrees in Atlanta. Rock Dog. Hey, Tim, it's 40 here in Florida. Where's the heat? Yeah, really. 2 degrees in St. Louis. Rob Cedar, what's going on, Rob? Harry Fike, I'm back. Too cold to work outside today here in Florida. Yeah, that is crazy. Kirk probably has never seen snow in where are you at, Kirk? Bradenton, right? Yeah, that's a little further south. But yeah, it's snowing in North Florida. A lot of the Gulf of America is experiencing snow. Yeah, all across the coastal communities, which is normally tropical all the time, basically tropical, is covered in snow. It's snowing in the Gulf even. I mean, that's crazy. Larry LaCucaracha, what's going on, Larry? Haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, it is wild out there. And South Louisiana, they're definitely not equipped for what's going on. They don't have snow plows or things like that. Mason Grovey, we don't have any snow here in southeastern Minnesota. Gulf of America. Okay. Looks like we're doing good. Yeah, we still have a little snow on the ground from last week. I mean, we were covered up a little over a week ago. We were covered up here for at least, we were shut in probably for at least 2 days. We had almost a foot of snow here. I think we talked about that on the last episode. All right. We'll get started with the regular questions after I run these social media links. There's the social media links. Please follow us on the YouTube and Facebook if you haven't already done so. But you can follow us on these other links that I'm running. Including one of those is TikTok, which has now been reinstated. All right, let's go ahead and get started here. Question number 1. This is from Ian. Yamaha 48-volt golf cart fitted a new Trojan battery set. Each battery tested an individual charge of 8.3 and over before fitting to cart. The cart still won't run, but the tested batteries all together, the cart connected, they only read 34. Am I right to think that the battery pack is faulty? I hope you can help me in this matter. Many thanks. Well, Ian, that should not be the case. So we must have a mistake somewhere, because if each one is over 8.3 individually, and then you test all of them together, it's going to be over 48 volts. There's no doubt about it. So if you're only reading that, you got a wire messed up somewhere. You might have messed up with your negative positive situation throughout the whole battery pack. You're going to have to check that, and also check the place that you're trying to measure full battery pack voltage. Make sure that you're doing that on the batteries. Don't do that in the charge receptacle on that cart, because it may give you an inaccurate reading because of some of the things the voltage is going through, or resistors and stuff that it's going through before it gets to that charge receptacle. So check it on the batteries themselves and make sure you're getting 8 times 3 times 6, whatever that comes out to, but it's going to be over 48 volts. So something's not right there. You got to clear that up first. Let me check this Facebook. Everything's good. Number 2 is from Erickson. On a cart that I just bought, one battery pack wire is maybe 4 gauge compared to 6 on the others. One of the batteries connected to that battery seems to boil on low amp charge, finish charge. Should I make sure all my battery wires are the same size to help prevent this, or is it possible that the battery is just that way? Pack is old, 2015, but reads 51. Off charge in each battery test 8.6. By the way, I plan to upgrade all the wires in the near future. Erickson. All you need to do, Erickson, to figure out if you need to change anything is during the charge cycle, like toward the end of the charge cycle, or at the beginning, really. At the beginning is when it's going to be doing the most amount of amps. Fill of all your wires, fill of your 4 gauge wire, fill of your 6 gauge wires. If you don't feel any heat or anything going on, then don't worry about changing your wires until later when you're ready to do all of them. If you're not suffering any heat in your wires, like overheat, I mean a lot of heat, then it's not causing you an issue with the charging, and it has nothing to do with that battery boiling out that you were describing. That's just a coincidence. So check them for heat, change them all to the same size whenever you get around to it, if you don't have any heat. Stephen Miller, there's a chart underneath the seat on the back half of the cart. Okay, I think you were talking about that Yamaha question, Stephen. I guess you were referring to. What was that? Number 1? Yeah, you're talking about that Yamaha question with the 34 volts. Yeah. Go by the chart. I mean, obviously, there's a wiring diagram chart on the back under the seat on a lot of Yamahas that shows you where the batteries go. So check that and make sure you got all your wires correct. That's exactly right, Stephen. Rob Cedar, 10-year-old batch, time to go lithium. Exactly. That's what I say. It is definitely time to go lithium, because prices. Well, there's so many cheap ways to go lithium. Not cheap, but cheaper than they used to be. You have a lot of alternatives now when going lithium. It used to just be expensive, that's it. Now you have some lesser expensive ways, but I mean, you have to admit, we don't have a lot of long-term data on those lesser expensive ways. That's what I want. I want somebody in the room to talk to me about their 3-year-old lithium pack at this point, and that might be hard to find. 3-year-old or older. Tell me about your 3-year-old lithium pack. I don't want to hear about your brand new lithium pack because they're all probably pretty good. I want to hear about some 3-year-old lithiums. Just make sure they're still going strong. Make sure everything's good. Because I hate to recommend something, you know, that doesn't have any type of long-term data like that. Because it's, you know, my name on the line if I recommend it. Number 3. Let me check Facebook first. Robert Cervello. Thanks. Bad solenoid wouldn't move without push. Eventually wouldn't run at all. Bad solenoid wouldn't move without push. Eventually wouldn't run at all. What is your question there, Robert? Number 3. Rob says, I'm running lead acid from 2017 and hold static 51, but won't do a round of golf. Well, that's because that 51 is going to be just surface voltage. You know, it's not under load. When you start putting it under load, that 51 can change quickly. And eventually, the battery that is the weakest, that's causing you to not be able to do a round of golf, will drop out like a rock. That's when you can find it if you wanted to just replace one, but you shouldn't be thinking about that with 2017s. It was definitely time to go ahead and make a decision there. But that's a good run on a set of lead acid. I mean, there's lots of data on good lead acid runs. That's what the problem is with a lot of these newer lithiums. Rich Eastman says he's in 2 years. I'll give you a report on my 3-year-old lithiums, 4 cheap 12-volt batteries, and my 2006 Club Car pressing. Good, that's what I want to hear. I want to hear some 3-year-old lithium stories. Craig says, hit the button for Mr. Freeman. Thanks for the shows. Thank you, Craig. Thank you very much. It's fixed. Solenoid, you said motor or solenoid. Oh, okay. I had told you it was going to be motor or solenoid, and it was solenoid. Okay, Robert. Thank you for telling me that. Thank you for telling me that, Robert. I'm glad. I hope I was able to help. I mean, it's hard to diagnose exactly on the internet when someone types in a question, but I can give you an answer based on my experience and tell you what I'm leaning toward. So I'm glad that I was right out of one of those two things. So thank you for pointing that out. Okay. Harry Fike tested a 36 volt last week that dropped to 24 on acceleration. Well, depending on the amount of drop during acceleration can depend on a lot of factors. It doesn't necessarily mean bad batteries or weak batteries. It could mean the car, like in other words, if you have a car that's set up for speed, like in other words, you have a speed motor in it, or maybe you have some high-speed gears, during acceleration, it's going to put a bigger draw on the battery pack. A bigger draw means a larger drop in voltage. So there are some things that can affect that drop. A completely stock golf cart shouldn't have, that's a pretty big drop for a completely stock, from 36 to 24. If everything is completely stock, and I'm talking about including tire size, height of tire, if everything is completely stock, 36 to 24, I would think would be a pretty big drop. But if this is a lifted car with taller tires with stock electronics, then you're putting a big draw on that battery pack. Or if it even has souped up electronics. Mason says his is a 22 Tempo factory lithium. First year, it was a demo for Club Car you bought in 23. I just use it at the golf course 3 to 4 days a week and only summers here in Minnesota. Everything is just as good as the day I bought. Now, see, that's good. That's the kind of stuff I want to hear, but this is only 1 year. I want to hear some 3-year-old lithium stories. So I hope you still have that cart in 3 years. I hope your lithiums are still going. That's why I said it might be a little bit hard to find. Harry Fike said it was completely stocked, but he replaced the pack and works fine now. Okay, cool. So you did have a weak battery that was showing up there, causing that drop. Rob says his RXV is 3-year-old lithium, but it's not a cheap battery. It's a Samsung. Okay, well that's cool. I want to hear about that too because I want to be able to compare. I want to hear about not just the cheap lithiums. I want to hear about the good ones or the more expensive ones, and so that's good too. There's 3-year-old lithium right there, and I'm familiar with those cars that came with the Samsung. The car is 3 years old. It's a 22. That's cool. When we're able to get some and just imagine what's going to happen when we get 5-year-old lithiums out there that are getting good reviews and are still going. Because, see, I used to tell my customers, I'm a Trojan battery dealer, or have been for many years, even before I went to work for Golf Cart Garage. I was a Trojan battery dealer. And I would tell my customers anywhere, this is in East Texas, by the way, which is basically like Florida, 365-day-a-year golf cart usage state or area. I would tell my customers, expect anywhere between 4 to 5 years out of a brand new set of Trojans, because a lot of times they'd last a little longer than 5 years. A lot of times they'd last about 4 years. So I'd say anywhere between 4 and 5 years. So imagine when we do start having lithium stories and reviews at 4 and 5 years old, and they're still going strong. That's when you think they're taking off now. When that happens, that's when they're really going to take off. That must be Dave in the warehouse posting for Golf Cart Garage, because that wasn't me. In Cleveland, Ohio, -4 degrees, -13 with the wind chill. Rob's is great runtime and decent power. Cool. Yeah, that is Dave, Craig, because that wasn't me. I didn't type that. So that's Dave in the warehouse in Ohio. Okay. We are still doing good there. Number 3. Number 3 is from Buddy. Hi, Tim. I am having trouble fixing our G2. It does fine on flat ground, but on any incline it feels like it slips bad. What can I do first before I replace the driven clutch? It has a new belt. Well, buddy, what happens on a gas cart when you do anything but flat ground, flat ground, it's very easy for it to go flat ground. You're on flat ground going wide open. Your drive clutch, which is the one that's connected to the motor, should be squeezed in all the way. Belt's riding at the top. Your driven clutch should be spread out, belt riding at the bottom. That's what should be happening when you're going wide open on flat ground. So somehow you're going to need to check that, and then you're going to need to check what happens when they're going from no load to climbing a hill. You're going to have to watch them some kind of way, and it's going to be difficult on a G2 because of the way the G2 body works. A Yamaha G2 is not going to be as easy to do as it would be on a E-Z-GO TXT or a Club Car DS or a Club Car Precedent, because you can't just raise the seat and figure out a place to sit and watch your clutches. You're going to have to somehow figure out, I don't know, you may have to remove the body if you can, or put it on jack stands and see if you can look up under it to watch those clutches. But you're going to have to see what is happening with those clutches as it starts to climb a hill. Stephen Miller, 5 degrees in Michigan. -12 probably is the wind chill factor, I would say. Okay, number 4. This is from Rodney P. Rodney P says it has a 1984 Club Car Electric. The steering wheel turns, but the wheels don't. It just clicks like a gear is slipping. If I pull up on the steering wheel, it will steer. What could be the issue here? Thanks for any input. Well, if you're turning the steering wheel and the wheels don't turn and you hear some clicking, then there's no doubt about it. It's skipping a gear somewhere. Yep, but you have to understand, you do have one gear, sort of a gear, right there at the steering wheel, right there where the steering wheel connects to the steering column. So figure out if it's slipping right there. What the deal is, that steering wheel is on a spline shaft. I wouldn't necessarily call it gears, but it does have splines. And your steering wheel, where it slides inside the hole of the steering wheel, has recessed places for the splines to go. So you could be clicking right there, and the wheels aren't turning. But there's also gears in the steering box itself. So you got to figure out which one that is by removing the steering wheel or holding. Or it may take 2 people. You may have to get somebody down there looking and watching while you turn the steering wheel and making it click. But the fact that you're pulling up on the steering wheel makes me think that it's most likely going to be in the gearbox or the steering box, the steering wheel gearbox. But it still could be on the steering wheel itself. You're just going to have to figure out which one it is, steering box or where the steering wheel connects to the steering column. Dave said Ohio's calling for -10 before wind chill. Buckeyes won the national championship, and that won't even keep us warm. I actually watched that game. It was a good game. They did win. I enjoyed it. Do you have any Let's See in March? I'm going to pick up my '64 Corvette to start restoration. Yeah, I don't, Rob. I'm not getting as many pictures as I need. So I'm short on pictures. Like today's Let's See is a video of my boy, Dino. So that tells you how many pictures I'm getting. If I had golf cart pictures, I'd show them, but I didn't get any so far this week. So I'm going to have to show a picture of my boy on his birthday, which was January the 4th, of him frolicking in the snow that we had. So I'll show that later. So send me some pictures of your '64 Corvette restoration. Please, go ahead. Yep, I'll post them up. I'll get Ayman to help me out with them, and he'll put them in a nice frame. And okay. We're going to go to number 5. This is from Denise O. Is there anything you can do to a 2003 Yamaha G22 to get more performance speed? I had a Freedom chip in my E-Z-GO, but I'm unaware of any hardware or software unlocks for these. Any ideas to get a little more speed aside from larger tires? A 2003 G22. I don't think there's anything you can do to that. I don't think there's any programming or anything you can do. So when that's not when you can't do that, like the Freedom chip, that was only for E-Z-GOs. That was only for E-Z-GO 36-volt TXTs, by the way. So that has nothing to do with your Yamaha. So the only thing you can do there would be a controller and a motor change. Like you did a controller and a motor change at the same time, then you would have programming abilities in your controller to change speeds and could likely get more performance out of your car. So you might want to look at one of those kits that involves a motor, controller, and a heavy-duty solenoid. And then if that's still not enough, then you could think about changing the gears in the rear end. Well, by the way, what is this? What was her name? Denise? Yeah, Denise O. By the way, taller tires, you got to understand, slightly taller tires will slightly increase your flat ground speed. So if that's all you're after, you could try that. Number 6. This is from Frederick. 36 volt EasyGo. Cart won't move, but it will beep when in reverse. I checked all the connections and they seem fine. Had a speed control sensor replaced. Speed control sensor replaced last spring. Was hoping that it go out again. Cart was stored all winter indoors with the batteries pulled out of it. Any ideas? Any help would be greatly appreciated. Well, I'm sure a lot of you know what I'm going to ask first. We're going to ask, does the solenoid click when you try to go? That's what I'm going to ask first for Frederick's question. Does the solenoid click when you try to go? But I also want to know I know you said your batteries are taken out and they were out of the car all winter, but I want to know how they were taken care of. So I don't know how they were taken care of. So I want to know battery voltage readings on the batteries right now. Individual battery voltage readings. And they can still be in the cart. They can still all be hooked up in order for you to give me, you don't have to disconnect anything, to give me individual battery voltage readings. I want to see where your voltage is at after being out of the cart all winter long and possibly not maintained in any way. So I'd have to know that first. Facebook is still rolling. Number 7 is where I'm at. William Flowers, what's going on, William? 26 and snowing in South Alabama. That's what we were talking about, William. See, I'm from North Louisiana, and I just can't believe I've been watching a live video feed from storm chasers driving around in South Louisiana, and it is a blizzard warning, believe it or not. I mean, it was a blizzard warning. So yeah, it's snowing in South Alabama too. How long has it been, William, since you've seen that? Since you've seen snow in South Alabama? Number 7. Old shop teacher, Craig says, is it true that batteries should not be stored on a concrete floor? Old shop teacher used to tell us that. That was true many years ago, but that is not the case anymore with modern batteries. Older batteries did not have near the case as newer batteries have. So it was possible that they could, develop some type of parasitic drain, which I don't even understand why it would do that with concrete anyway. But yeah, that used to be true, but that hadn't been true for a long time. You can put golf cart batteries on concrete floor. I've done it in my shop before just to see if that had any merit to it, if that wives' tale had any merit. So you saw snow in South Alabama about 7 years ago. Well, they were saying that it's snowing in New Orleans, and somebody looked it up, and it hadn't snowed in New Orleans, I believe, or at least not to the extent that it is now, since 1963. So maybe you're north, I guess you would probably be north of New Orleans, but not far. All right, number 7. From Lucas, a friend has a stock 36 volt EasyGo. I'm not sure, but let's assume it's the last iteration of 36 volt cart. So if that's the case, then that would mean it would be a PDS. My question are related to top speed, but whatever factory dealer method, what is the top speed of a stock 36 volt car can go? That is, without mods. My TXT48 would max out at 19.5, but that's 48 volts. Okay, let's stop right there and answer that question for Lucas. A 36 volt EasyGo cart that has if it's a PDS, which would be the latest model in the 36 volt EasyGo carts, would be an EasyGo PDS with a Freedom chip, or they call it a chip, but it's not really a chip. I'll come back to the rest of the question in a second. With the Freedom plug, is what I like to call it, it's going to be about 19.6. In other words, the voltage is not really going to matter. They didn't go to 48 volt carts to make golf carts faster, believe it or not. They went to 48-volt carts for all kinds of other reasons, but it wasn't to make them faster, because you can't make them faster because golf courses have speed limits. You can't make them. They won't allow golf carts past a certain speed on a golf course. And most 99% of all, or 90-something% of all golf carts spend the first 3 years of their life owned by a golf course or owned by a lease at a golf course before they hit the used golf cart market. Very few people go buy a brand new golf cart for themselves personally. Now they do. There are some people that do, but it's a very small percentage compared to all the golf carts out there. All right, so that's the first part of the question. Let's see what the next part. Top speed of an E-Z-GO TXT PDS 36 volt is about the same as what you're saying at 19.5. How fast can a stock 36 volt go? Okay, about 19.5. I mean, that's how fast they would go. And how is the max speed achieved? It's achieved on those by a little plug. They have 4 different plugs in the controller that you can change out. Each plug has a slightly higher ground speed and also a slightly less, a decreasing amount of regenerative braking. See, that's the first type of regenerative braking, is the plugs that you can change it with. And then now it's programming, to do regenerative braking and change the speed. Last thing I remember was a jumper wire and a plastic plug. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So the next most recent version of the 36 volt is the max speed setting achieved by a handheld programmer or a jumper wire. I can see this cart in the next couple of days. Maybe then I can determine its age, drive, etc. Well, if it has the plug in the controller, there's 4 plugs, and if it's got the one with the 2 red wires, that's the fastest one, if that's what you're trying to go for. That's the one called the Freedom plug, the plug that has the 2 red wires on it. People drop L8 on concrete to knock the sulfates off. I've heard of that too, Rob. Yeah, dropping them on concrete. Question 6 could be the micro switch or the foot pedal under the floorboard. Joe Foster, number 6. Well, that's why I said the first thing I wanted to know, Joe, is the solenoid clicking? Because if the solenoid is, then the micro switch under the floor mat's okay, if it's clicking. But he never said. If it's not clicking, then we could have gone there. But it also could be not clicking from low voltage in the batteries. So that's, I know I talk about the solenoid clicking a lot, but the solenoid answers a lot of questions, and I know immediately what parts I know immediately some parts that I can disregard as being the problem if the solenoid is clicking or not. William Flowers, about 40 miles south of Montgomery. That's pretty far south, but south of Montgomery. Concerning question 6, if one battery was put back in backwards in series, would that give reverse beep no-go? It very well could, because the max voltage on the pack would be too low to go, but it might be enough to turn the buzzer on. So yeah, that could be a part of it. See, a lot of times I assume that the batteries are wired correctly, so maybe I shouldn't do that as much as I do. When you tell me, when I hear some of these descriptions, I assume that you understand that it needs to be negative, positive all throughout the battery pack line, but I probably shouldn't do that. I should probably start off with, where did you get your wiring diagram from, or what wiring diagram are you following? Jerry Kelly, what's going on, Jerry Kelly? William Rizzo, hello, Tim, and good people from a cold 54 in the Villages, Florida. I guess you're too far south to see the snow, huh, in the Villages there, William. It's snowing in Pensacola. That's what we were talking about a while ago. Okay. Number 8. Let me check Facebook before I go to number 8. Still rolling over there. I'm I'm not showing any viewers on Facebook right now. Huh. Unless I'm not seeing something right. Number 8. All right, this is number 8 is from Adam B. Does anyone know the speed of a stock Yamaha G1 with the governor disconnected? My G1 would go about 15. I was expecting a little faster. Well, let me tell you what I have experimented with a G1. I have a G1, as maybe you know that. Maybe that's why you asked me. I did not. There's different ways to when you say governor disconnected. I'd like to know what you mean by that, because there's different ways to do that. Now, the easiest one that I found is where you leave the governor in place on a G1. You leave it in place, but you drill out the splines. The governor goes on top of an arm, and the governor arm is splined, and then the arm coming out of the transaxle is splined. All right. If you drill out the splines on the governor arm and set it back down, it will the governor rod inside will rotate freely. That is the way to completely bypass the governor. It completely gets rid of it. Now, I can assure you, on G1s that I did that to, what did you say you were getting, 15? On G1s I did that to, they ended up being a flat ground speed of way more than 15. It was more like 20, 21, 22, something like that. And even then, you had the risk of over revving, because it would, that little two-stroke will rev out pretty high with that governor bypass. So I would have questions about how you did that. So on my current G1 that I've had for years, I've probably had it for, at this point, maybe 15 years. It does not have the governor drilled out. The governor is still in place, but the governor screw, I've just got the governor screw tightened up all the way. And with the governor screw tightened up all the way, that car is probably about what you're describing. With it tightened up all the way, it's probably, I don't know if I've ever clocked it, because it seems kind of slow. But I like it because I'm able to drive it slow. It's a really good creeping around the woods car. And a G1 gas creeping around is very, very quiet. If everything is stock, because the exhaust system actually has a butterfly valve it's a really cool car. I know I've said that before. G1 gas are excellent cars, but they're also very quiet when they're not being pushed hard. So anyway, it's probably, with the governor screw screwed in all the way, it's probably about 15, probably about what you're saying there. William Rizzo said, yes, it is 76 in the Florida Keys, heading there Thursday. Oh, my. I saw on the Weather Channel, I watched this guy on YouTube that puts out a weather video. He's a meteorologist. He's from Florida, the Max Velocity guy. You might know who I'm talking about. But in his latest video, which I watched yesterday, he was talking about that Miami, Florida was the only place in the United States that was actually above, I think it was 60 degrees. It was the only place that it was above 60 degrees. So that's going to be close down there to the, to the Keys. Every place else in the whole United States was below that. Robert Sample, Club Car Precedent jerking on acceleration, 48 volt batteries are 1 year old. Anything to do with that's not smooth acceleration on a Precedent, on an electric 48 volt Precedent, I always go to the M core as being, that's my first question. Has the M core been changed, or have you had anybody look at or test the M core, or have you had your fault codes read? Because they can plug in a computer at a club car dealer, or just someone who has a reader, a golf cart shop that has a reader for your particular controller, which is a very common reader. It's a Curtis controller reader. They can look at your M core and see if that's what's causing your jerking acceleration, because the M core is responsible for sending the smooth signal, which is directly related to your acceleration. So if it's not sending a smooth signal, if it's up and down, your acceleration could be up and down and all over the place. Very common problem would be an M-core change on a Club Car precedent. Very unlikely that your batteries are causing that issue, especially if they are only 1 year old. It's more likely that it would be your M-core. Thanks for stopping by, Robert Sample. Mike Urban, if you reverse the polarity on one of the batteries, wouldn't that smoke one or more of the batteries in the pack? No, it wouldn't smoke it. No. It's funny how many times, the reason I know that, it's funny how many times I've seen that happen and it didn't smoke the battery. Now, it can get it way out of balance. It can even, if you continue to use it and charge it, which is very likely that you won't because you'll notice that something's not right with your car really quickly. But if you do end up not noticing it because you're just oblivious to what's going on around you, and you continue to use it and charge the car, you might eventually reverse polarity in one of those batteries. And that can be a very difficult thing to correct. But no, it won't smoke it if you catch it in time. It's not going to smoke it. It's just the using and the charging that, mainly the charging, that's going to end up causing you an issue. Rob Cedar says Ryan Hall. Oh, are we talking about the Florida guy? No, I said it was I watch his videos on YouTube. Max Velocity is his channel name. Maybe his name is Ryan Hall. I don't know, Ryan Hall. But he puts out, anytime there's a big storm, any type of storm in the United States, he puts out videos on YouTube, and that's my newest way to keep up with the weather all around the nation as I watch him. Kind of a weird guy, but he seems like he knows what he's talking about. My wife is on Facebook. Hello, Catherine. Kevin Salyer, Facebook is up and running. Kevin Salyer's on Facebook. Cool. Ricky Hall, I'm here on Facebook. Okay, Ricky. Robert Cedar, I'm here too. Okay. Robert Cedar's over there also. Phyllis Finley Elliott, what's going on, Phyllis? That's Greg's wife, I believe. David Irwin, Facebook is working. Okay, cool. Maybe it was just stuck a while ago. It showed that I didn't have anybody. Maybe it was just stuck. Thank y'all for typing something in there so I know it's okay. All right, number 9. Number 9 is from Casey. I have one 1999 E-Z-GO series cart. I'm thinking of going lithium. Only use it to travel 1/3 of a mile to some land where I keep an ATV and side-by-side. The big question is how much weight could I save and would it be worth it? Other than the kick panel, forward and reverse lever, I like the series cart as most of my riding is slow and slight grade through some wooded areas. Well, Casey, there's not going to be really any downfall for you to go lithium. I mean, not anything to speak of. Now, I did have a title of one of these episodes where we talked about the cons of lithium. And the only con that really you can come up with nowadays, because price is even getting more reasonable. It used to be a con was the price. Well, now the price is getting more reasonable and getting closer to a new set of lead acid. So we kind of have to throw that out as a con nowadays, or we're getting close to being able to throw that con out. So the only other con is that you have to be ready for a dramatic weight decrease. Okay, your cart's going to weigh like 300 pounds less than it did. Now, that may sound great on the surface. It sounds great to me because I know that your power to weight ratio just went off the chart of your cart. Every golf cart has a specific power to weight ratio. When you changed it by reducing 300 pounds, your power to weight ratio got way better as far as drag racing goes, as far as getting from this point to that point quicker and more efficiently. So you're going to feel like you have more power. You're going to feel like you have less weight. It's just think by driving your golf cart and then all of a sudden it lost 300 pounds. It's going to make a world of difference in the performance, and you're going to notice it. You're going to feel like your car now goes faster, which technically it probably doesn't go any faster, but it's got so much better power to weight ratio that it's going to have a lot more torque. It's going to get there quicker. You're going to think it's faster. You're going to have more power to crawl through those woods. So there's really nothing bad about going to lithium on a series cart like that. You should be able to drive around slow without heating things up because it's much easier because of the weight reduction. It's going to be easier for the cart to pull itself. You've got less of a rolling resistance, and so that's going to help in all electrical matters of your golf cart. Let me see what else it was other than the kick panel. Yeah, that'll be fine to go lithium on that series 1999 E-Z-GO series cart. Do it. You won't regret it. David just pointed out that, oh, and by the way, remember, we sell Eco lithium batteries at Golf Cart Garage. Dave has just pointed out that Eco Battery just sent some more swag, shirts and hats. We gave one away last week, or the week before that, but I haven't heard from the guy. So that if I don't hear from him by next episode, because next episode we'll decide when we're giving another one away. I'm trying to give the guy time to get in touch with me, but I haven't heard from him yet. So that's we have a nice new Eco battery hat that is in there with the pile of Golf Cart Garage hats. And now Dave is pointing out that we got some shirts and some more hats. So we'll get some pictures of those, and I'll post them when we get ready to give something away. You might have your choice of a Golf Cart Garage hat, Eco Battery lithium hat, Eco Battery shirt. We'll see. This is a new announcement to me right there, so that's cool. Thank you, Dave. Number 9, I think that was it on number 9. Yep, we're good on that. Number 10, this is going to be the last regularly scheduled question. My question is about the 400 amp fuse that came with the Ultrax XTC 500 amp controller. I installed the Ultrax about 3 to 4 years ago on my 2017 TXT with traditional 170 amp hour lead acid batteries. I recently upgraded to Valtra lithium batteries. It has a BMS that provides 200 amp continuous draw, 400 plus amp, can't remember the exact number for a certain amount of seconds, and 600 for 2 to 3 seconds before the BMS shuts the battery down to protect the battery. What was the 400 amp fuse protecting in the lead acid setup? Is it still needed in my new setup? That will be up to your controller. If you still have the same controller, they're probably going to recommend you put that fuse. Don't worry about it though, because there's no way that you're going to pull 600 amps for more than 2 or 3 seconds like that. You're not even going to get close to those numbers. So 200 amp, your BMS allows for a 200 amp continuous draw. There's no way you're even going to do that. So that 400 amp fuse is plenty. And as far as what it was protecting, that 400 amp fuse was literally only protecting a dead short. That's all it was doing. It's just protecting a dead short, a fuse that big. So don't worry about that. You probably don't need it, but if your controller recommends it, if your controller manufacturer recommends it, and look at the wiring diagram for an Ultrax XTC 500 and see if they're including that fuse in there. UltraxInc.com website has some really cool wiring diagrams. They have a lot of good information there. They probably have a wiring diagram for your exact car. Okay. William Rizzo says, hey Dave, awesome. Yep. Awesome news from Eco. Yep. Greg Elliott, keep up the good work. Soon I'll get a new wardrobe, hopefully, from GCG and Eco batteries. Yep. Yeah, they finally came up with and given us some merch. So that's cool. All right, we're good on that. We're good on that. Facebook is rolling. We are rolling here. Okay, what do I got for y'all? If you'd like to purchase a hat from Golf Cart Garage, these are the regular hats. I show those every week. There's some links in the description that take you right to the regular hats. That's the Golf Cart Garage hats. But we now have, like I said, a couple of other things. I'll get some more pictures of that. Greg says, what does it take for YouTubers to get one of those awards from YouTube? I think you and Dave need one. I think it takes, Craig, if you're talking about that plaque that has the YouTube play button on it, I think it must take a certain number of subscribers, which we don't have. We have over 15,000, but it may be, who knows, it may be 50,000 or 100,000. I don't know, but I think that's what it takes. Kirk says, bam, let's see Dino. Let's see some pictures. 100K. Oh, it's 100K, Helpless says. Yeah, see, on YouTube, we have about 15, and on Facebook, I think it's about the same. So, the Eco Swag is all green and black. Looks like it came from a dispensary. Cool. David Irwin says it's 100K. All right, cool. Yeah, so we got a ways to go for that, guys. All right, let's see some pics. I don't have any pics this time, so please, when y'all come up with some pics, send them to me. Send them to me at my email address, which I usually post here just about every time. But if you don't know what it is, it's 00timfreeman@gmail.com. Send me some pics to that address, and I'll feature it. Dino, I forgot. This is what the deal is with Dino. Every time Dino's in here with me, you always see him, and he's usually just sleeping on the floor. He almost looks like he's decrepit or something, or he's too old to even move. Well, he's not. He's just, anytime I'm doing my show is during his. Thank you, Dave. Dave just put my email address in the chat on YouTube for some pictures. So anybody have some cool pictures they want to send me, send them to that email address. Thank you, Dave. Makes me think that people think Dino, is not in good health or whatever. No, don't let him fool you. It's just when I do my show, it's during his nap time, so he's always kind of down. He's got a schedule, and he's always kind of sleepy, or, it's time for him to take a nap for a while. So here's proof of that. Dino's birthday was January the 4th, so it was a couple of weeks ago, or last week, and I forgot to say anything about it. And so here's Dino. Look at that split screen I got going on. This is my 14-year-old boy out there just having fun in the snow. I'll do it again because it's a short video. So he is very mobile at 14, and he has metal knees. Both of his knees and his rear legs are metal. I think I talked about that before. When an athlete tears their, human athlete tears their ACL, like in football or something, you hear about them tearing their ACL, and it's like a career-ending injury, or at least a season-ending injury. Well, Dino did that. In a dog, it's called CCL. It's not called ACL, it's called CCL. Well, Dino busted his first knee when he was 7 years old, and because he's a big boy, he not as likely to get over it without surgery as small dogs. There's some small dogs, when they bust their CCL, they can get over it. Well, Dino's a pretty big boy. He weighed about 80 pounds at the time. This was when he was 7. So we had to get the surgery done, which involved some metal, some pins, and some screws in his knee. The problem is that when they recover from that, the vet told us this, when they recover from that, they think they're Superman, and they put the power down again, and that knee's not going to break because it's braced with metal. The other knee's likely going to give out, and that's exactly what happened with Dino Man. His other knee gave out. First knee he busted chasing some feral hogs. He was getting good at that too, by the way, so that was a disappointment when he hurt himself. And then his second knee he busted chasing a stray dog, and so he's had both of them done. He's got metal in both his knees and screws, and has had that since he was 7 years old. So this is just proof that that boy can still get around, and he's happy as he can be. That's the snow we had a couple of weeks ago here in Arkansas, by the way. So he had a great time. Okay. Your show is during my nap time too, but there's no place to lay down. Looks like 500 dog power at the paws. Thanks, Craig. Laughing my ass. Bionic Dino. Yep, he is. We do call him Bionic Knees, but he's good. He's good. He's He's just turned 14, so he's had metal knees for about 7 years now. And I remember when he had his second one done, when he blew his second one out, was about the same time that I got my first Fitbit. It was about the time the 10,000 step thing. So I was all into that, and it helped because Dino was needed physical therapy. He needed rehabilitation therapy after his second knee. So he would go with me, and he and I hit it strong for at least a year straight, and it was part of his rehabilitation, his physical rehabilitation, and myself too. I didn't hurt myself, but I just decided to do the 10,000 step thing, and but Dino was there with me every step of the way for at least a year straight, and he's still good to this day. Keith says Dino looks good. Sorry if I'm late. No problem, Keith. That's my wife saying that's my boy on Facebook. Yeah, he's good. Okay, I showed the social media links. I showed Dino in the snow. If you'd like to contact us here at Golf Cart Garage for any reason, here's another email address. This is support@golfcartgarage.com. That's where most of the questions, someone asked last time, where do the questions come from, the regularly scheduled questions? Well, they mainly come from that email address, support@golfcartgarage.com. That's where Rhea, that works for Golf Cart Garage, gets those questions from, and she gets them to me, and I pick out a few, and then knowing that I'm going to talk live to some people also. So I usually pick out about 10 questions, that are interesting. There's the phone number for Golf Cart Garage. If you would like to buy and use a coupon from Golf Cart Garage, you are welcome to. Here's the coupon code. Here's the active coupon that we have right now. I believe it's active. Let me see. You get 5% off any parts you order at golfcartgarage.com if you use the coupon code TIM28, TIM28. Yeah, this is still active. Code expires on February the 7th, 2025. What's going on with my TV? Oh, okay. February 7th, 2025. So that's still good for a couple of weeks. Okay. Check Facebook. Yep, I think we're good everywhere. I want to thank everybody for showing up. Happy birthday, Dino Man. There he is again with the split screen. He's been having a blast. Okay. Wish everybody luck in South Louisiana. They're not used to what's going on there. They don't have the equipment for it. So I don't think I have anybody in the chat normally in South Louisiana. And because, man, it is really bad for them right now down there. So wish everybody luck there, because it is as bad as it's been in a long time. Okay, guys, I will see everybody next week. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for showing up every week. Thank you for keeping this going. I enjoy doing it. I hope you enjoy it. And as long as you do, we'll keep doing it. I'll see everybody on, let's see, today is Tuesday the 21st. Looks like next Tuesday will be the 28th. I'll see everybody on Tuesday the 28th. Thank you for showing up again. Garage is now closed.